Every single culture, from every corner of the globe, possesses a memory. Not like, where did I leave my keys? No. But a memory of a profound and terrifying reset. From the deserts of Mesopotamia to the mountains of China, from the rainforests of the Aztecs to the Arctic Circle, where your nose runs and your snot freezes on your upper lip. Humanity shares a collective haunting story. I'm Jessi, and today we are going to dive deep into one of the most famous of stories that has been passed down through the ages. The story of a great flood. Now, you might think you know this story. An ark, a few animals, a bearded man with a concerned look. Well, over 200 of these myths have been documented, from civilizations that, as far as we know today, had no possible contact. No texts, no DMs, no carrier pigeons, nothing. We are often told these are mere symbolic tales, cautionary fables about angering the gods. But the unnerving consistency, the core narrative, it forces a more profound question. What if these are not just stories? What if they're echoes? Fractured memories of a single global catastrophe so devastating it didn't just erase civilizations, but the very gods they worshipped. The evidence is starting to suggest that long before recorded history, a series of cataclysmic floods didn't just drown the world. They might have reset the very foundations of human belief. Our story does not begin with Noah. Oh no. Think older, much older. It begins over 4,000 years ago in the dusty plains of Sumer, Iraq. The oldest written flood narrative we possess, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Inscribed on clay tablets around 2100 BCE. In this ancient tale, the world was not drowned for its wickedness, but for its noise. The chief god, Enlil, could not sleep. The chattering, the laughter, the music, the partying, the love noises, the 24/7 construction. He just wanted it all to stop. His solution was not a divine decree for quiet. It was absolute, final eradication. He convinced the Council of Gods, unleash the deluge. Wipe the slate clean, silence the chattering humans. But here lies the first twist of hope. Another god, the clever and rebellious Enki, he couldn't bear it. But he was bound by an oath, a pinky swear with the cosmos. He couldn't warn mankind directly, so he performs a feat of divine espionage. He whispered his warning to a reed wall, all while knowing what he said would be overheard by his favorite mortal, a pious king-priest named Utnapishtim. Utnapishtim. See, even his name sounds like a whisper. His instructions were precise. Tear down your house and build a boat. Abandon your possessions and seek life. So Utnapishtim, his family, and the seed of all living things, craftsmen, animals, the whole crew, rode out the 7-day storm. When the waters finally stilled, he released a dove. However, it came back. Then a swallow, and it came back. Then finally, a raven, which did not return. The message was clear. Dry land and a second chance for humanity had been found. This Mesopotamian story did not stay put. It went viral before Twitter. It evolved, it spread. It became the Babylonian tale of Atrahasis. It crossed continents and oceans. In ancient Greece, Deucalion survived a flood from a disillusioned Zeus. He then repopulated the earth by throwing the bones of his mother, which were stones. They sprang forth as new men and women. It's a metaphor, people. In India, the sage Manu was warned by the god Vishnu, who had taken the form of a giant fish. Even the Aztecs' god, Tezcatlipoca, commands a man, Nata, and his wife, Nena. Hollow out a great cypress log. They survive, but they disobeyed after, and for their trouble, they were turned into dogs. When you dissect these and hundreds of similar myths, a universal blueprint emerges. The ultimate disaster story. First, the divine grievance. Gods are upset. Noise, wickedness, bad cable connection. Second, the leaked secret. A rebellious deity, tips off the hero. Third, specific instructions. Build a boat, cork a log, duck and cover. Fourth, the mission. Preservation of life itself, the seed of all living things. Fifth, the storm and the calm. So powerful, the Mesopotamian texts say the gods themselves grew terrified and cowered like dogs. And finally, the test for land and the new covenant. A sacrifice, a promise, the biblical rainbow. I won't do it again. Probably. So, did the entire ancient world share a collective nightmare? The answer lies in a fascinating field called geomythology. Now, there's a fancy word. What is it, you ask? It's the study of how real geological events inspire legendary tales. For a river civilization like Mesopotamia, a catastrophic flood was the end of their world. And archaeologists have in fact found a distinct layer of flood sediment, a real devastating local event at the ancient city of Shuruppak, dating to around 2900 BCE. But other cultures, like in the Pacific Northwest, where tribes tell the oral history of thunderbird and whale battling, causing massive waves that swept canoes high into trees. That's the echo of a tsunami memory. In the Arctic and Tibet, myths describe floods from the blood of a slain giant and a drained lake. That's a glacial lake outburst flood. An ice dam fails and whoosh, a landscape-scouring torrent. The most prominent scientific theory, however, is the Black Sea Deluge Hypothesis. Proposed by William Ryan and Walter Pittman in 1997, it suggests that around 7,600 years ago, the rising Mediterranean Sea catastrophically breached the Bosphorus Strait. This would have unleashed a cataclysmic surge of seawater, perhaps 200 times the flow of Niagara Falls, dramatically raising the Black Sea, inundating settlements for generations. It's debated, of course, but it's a compelling scientific parallel to a massive, culture-altering flood. But what if some of these stories are echoes of something even older, more catastrophic? For decades, scientists have pieced together evidence of a period of unbelievable climate chaos, the Younger Dryas. It's suggested it began abruptly around 12,900 years ago. The Earth, which had been warming up, putting on its little shorts and t-shirt, was suddenly and violently plunged back into a deep freeze for over 1,300 years. The cause? A heated debate. The prevailing theory suggests glacial meltwater shut down the ocean's currents. But a provocative, controversial counter-theory has also emerged. The Younger Dryas Impact Hypothesis. Proponents argue one or more comet fragments exploded in the atmosphere or slammed into the North American ice sheet. They point to a thin, dark layer of sediment from this exact time found across multiple continents. This layer contains microscopic nanodiamonds, glassy spherules, platinum, the fingerprints of a cosmic impact. The airbursts would have triggered continent-spanning wildfires, destabilized the immense Laurentide ice sheet, and unleashed unimaginable torrents of meltwater. This would not have been a slow, rising biblical flood. This was a series of catastrophic regional superfloods. Apocalyptic events that would have annihilated everything in their path. For a long time, we pictured humans 13,000 years ago as simple nomadic hunter-gatherers. However, the discovery of Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey has completely shattered that timeline. Dating to around 9,600 BCE, it is the world's oldest known temple complex. With a breathtaking array of massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some weighing over 10 tons and carved with intricate images of various animals, this was not the work of a simple society. This was built by a sophisticated, organized culture, with spiritual depth and architectural genius we never knew existed. Crucially, Göbekli Tepe was constructed right after the Younger Dryas period ended. It is as if humanity, in the direct aftermath of a near apocalypse, came together to build this monumental site. And then, around 8,000 BCE, after centuries of use, they deliberately, meticulously buried it under tons of earth. Why? We may never know. But it stands, a powerful, silent monument to a world that had just survived annihilation. A reset, a new beginning, a time capsule from a forgotten age. So, the evidence does not point to a single global flood that covered every mountain on Earth. The physics of our planet's water inventory make that impossible. But it points to something more complex and haunting. At the dawn of our history, humanity faced a period of profound instability. As ice ages ended, our world was ravaged by catastrophic regional superfloods, tsunamis, glacial outbursts, the breaching of the Bosporus, meltwater pulses. These interconnected apocalypses shattered early cultures. The survivors, their world and its gods erased, were left with only the core traumatic memory. The water rose, and almost everything was lost. The flood myths, they were humanity's way of making sense of this incomprehensible trauma. They are the stories we told to explain our survival, to codify our new relationship with the divine, to pass on a warning. They are not literal weather reports. They are the last will and testament of a forgotten world. A blended, global memory of a genuine reset etched into our collective psyche. They're reminders that our ancestors looked at the awesome power of water and saw not just an ending, but always, always, the seed of a new beginning. So we have to ask, are these myths just stories, or are they a warning passed down for 12,000 years? An echo of a disaster so great it forced humanity to begin again. What do you think happened all those millennia ago? Is there a lost chapter in our history? If this story made you look at the rain a little differently, give it a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What other global myths should we explore? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the stories we thought we knew. Until then, stay curious and choose wisely.